Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. I hope you all are having a wonderful day wherever you are in the world. Some of you may be celebrating the holidays while others may not. Or whatever time of the year it is, whether it's a birthday or just a gift or something that you're giving at any time of the year, I want you to take a leaf out of a lesson that the Lord has showed me to never do, and I want to share it with you. During this time of year, sometimes there are a lot of little threats, right, with the children or whoever, regardless of their age. If there are issues, the threat is, if you don't behave yourself, you're not getting anything for Christmas. Or if you don't behave yourself, you're not going to get a birthday party. Or I'm not going to get you a gift for your birthday. I want you to understand that this, as easy as it is to do that, you're setting a precedence. You're setting a precedence for your children where they will think if you do something that's not right for them or that they don't agree with, then withholding things from you, whether it's a gift or a ride to go somewhere or to pick you up or to show up, that is going to be the lesson. They just won't do it. They will equate denying you something as the norm for if you do something they don't like. Do you understand what I'm saying? The Bible tells us that God causes the rain to shine on the just and the unjust. He causes the rain to fall on the just and the unjust. That means the people who believe in him and those who don't. He causes the sun to shine on those who believe in him and those who don't. And Peter said, Lord, how many times should I forgive my brother? 7 times? Because Peter probably knew he was on number 6. He's like, you got one more time to mess up. But the Lord said 70 times 7. I believe he said 70 times 7. Or did he say 70 times 70? I think he said 70 times 7. So, if we really want to be grudging, we can be like, oh, that's 490 times. Okay, I think I'm about halfway there. The point of the matter is, when it comes to our children, we have the hardest jobs. Forgiveness. I always tell people, forgiveness does not mean that you just allow people to walk over you and do what they want to do. You can forgive a person, but still have some lines drawn. But what we should never do as parents is to be vindictive or manipulating or withhold something. Now, some of you may think differently, but we have to understand that when the children are young and when they're in their teens, they're ever learning. So if you attack them because of stuff that they're doing, because they're always developing. If you attack them back, you do certain things, they're learning from you. So is it a wonder why do parents sometimes expect the children just be so loving, so understanding, so long-suffering when you're not? Well, the reason why that happens is because the God mentality kicks in, which is no matter what I do or don't do, if I disappoint you or not, whatever I do, I'm the parent and you're the child. But we have a God who's always given to us no matter what. I mean, there may be things that as a result of our actions, there are consequences, but he's not transactional in things that, the bottom line is, you're just not going to enter into heaven at the end of the day. We can't. if we're not living for him or doing what he's saying for us to do. Because it's like he's saying, you need to be clean to come here. You need to be clean. You need to be made whole. You can't be here if you're filthy. Okay? He's not saying to us, well, I'm going to withhold love from you because you're not doing what I want to do. But to enter in here, you must be clean. You see what I mean? Because it's kind of when we tell our children, you need to take a shower, you need to get in that bath. And they don't want to, but they need to. Why? Because sometimes we may be smelling their underarms. We know that also hygiene is very important, especially not only for cleanliness purposes, but for health reasons. So you have to do this. Okay? They're gonna start to smell. They can get sick, layers of dirt, touching food, eating with their filthy hands. So many consequences will take place. But we say you need to do this. So we know why this has something to do with love or not loving the person. You need to get in that tub. So when it comes to your children, don't. It's better, here's the thing. It's better that they just not know. And if sometimes they're doing things that's wrong and they're really misbehaving and you need to return something because maybe you're realizing the person's not being responsible, right? And you go, if I give them this gift, then I'm enabling their behavior because they are misbehaving. They're not doing the right thing. Maybe I'll wait another year. But then that's a situation that you have decided in yourself based on their behaviors. They don't know about it. They'll never know. And so that's different. That's you being wise. Now, it's different if you're just being vindictive. Like, oh, I'm mad at them. So, oh, I know she wanted this. I know he wanted this. I'm going to take it away from them. God will see your heart if you're being malicious. But if you are talking to your child or children about something and they continue to behave this way, then you have to make a decision. Which would be, if you're withholding a gift or you're not going to give them this present, you have to be thinking in terms of, I will be enabling bad behavior. And I love my child enough to withhold this for now or not get it and teach them the lessons, okay? And talk to them about their behavior and what needs to change and focus in this area and let them know you need to change, okay? And then you can come up with plans, which will be, I read something that would talk about natural consequences. For example, if they break something, they break their toy, okay, you've broken your toy, you're out of a toy. We're not going to replace that, right? If you don't do your chores and you don't do what you need to do, then guess what? You're going to get up and you're going to be doing your chores later. You go to bed and you didn't wash the dishes or something like that. I'm going to wake you up. You're going to go do those dishes. You see? Just other little things where they see they learn natural consequences. Natural consequences, which means they learn consequences, excuse me, they learn the consequences of their actions. You don't do your homework, you don't do the things that you need to do, then you're probably not going to go on this school trip because you have not been doing your lessons in school. You don't do your classes, you don't know what you need to do, you're going to repeat the same grade. And with that, we're probably going to have to up your study time. Just Just a few things. Now, I know there's some parents that's like, oh, be like that. Be like what old girl told, was it Celie? What told Celie's husband, forgot what his name is, from The Color Purple. He came to her and said, my wife's not listening to me. What do I do? And what did she say? Beat her. Just beat her. And was it Celie? Yeah. Celie's son came. It was Harpo. Harpo went to Celie, and Celie was like the stepmother. What do I do? She ain't listening to me. What do I do? She looked and said, beat her. She's telling him to be his wife because that's what she's known. So, of course, Harpo tried to beat her, and Harpo got beat. And, of course, his wife comes, and her whole thing, you told Harpo to beat me. My point is, sometimes parents will think, you're going to beat your children. While the Bible says spare the rod, he never said break the rod. When he says spare not the rod, lest your child will go wayward. He said spare not the rod, not break it. And some parents are breaking the rod, snapping it, and drawing blood, and being very abusive to their children. So sometimes you may think, I don't need to do it, I'm just going to beat you. But remember, you're teaching your child something, even in that. You're teaching them something. So when it comes to gift giving, you have to think, it cannot be transactional. You're not giving the child a present because based on their behavior. You give a child a gift or a person a gift for who they are, not based on, well, if you behave, because if you don't, I'm going to take it back. Let's not spend time threatening the children and telling them you're going to take their presents from them. And then even after they open their presents, I can take it back from you. Like telling them I shouldn't have got it from you. Don't let that conversation come up because it has nothing to do with it. What you're doing is it's almost like you're holding, now I got your gift, you're holding it over their heads. And if you're a child of God, that should not be your behavior, especially. It shouldn't be any parent's behavior, but especially when you're proclaiming Christ. We cannot do that because really, even as parents, we don't do everything right. As a child of God, let's think about the many offenses and the repeated offenses and misdemeanors that we have done as whole adults, much more mature than our children, that we can make. And oftentimes parents don't want to make this comparison because they put themselves on a higher pedestal and say, I'm higher than you. But the Son of God came down, and he came in the form of flesh to show us that it can be done. And so the biggest example that we can have as parents is to live by example. To live by example. And to not muddle those lines of, well, I'm mad, I'm going to take this from you. You did this, I'm going to take it from you. Because believe it or not, when you get older, that's what they're going to do. When you do things that they don't agree with, or they think that you did something that offended them, then they won't buy you that gift. They won't pick you up that stuff. It will move into other things, as I said. You at an appointment, they're not coming to get you. They're not coming to pick you up. Because even sometimes parents will do that. They'll be so mad at their children, they're not going to drive them to the game. They don't pick them up. The child has to find their way back home. This stuff, it goes beyond gift giving or taking it back. But sometimes parents do horrible things. You're not going to eat. You're not going to get breakfast. You're not going to get this. I'm not going to give you the clothes that you need. But those behaviors are abusive. They're malicious. Okay? That's malice. That is doing wrong. Their basic needs should never be on the table. But sometimes it's the easy way to do it because other things are too hard. Some parents, they're just so angry that they don't know how to sit down with their child because their anger and their temper is out of control. So they don't know how to sit with them. They don't know how to come up with other ways of getting things done. I'm not saying sometimes you don't have to really go in and punish the child, okay? But sometimes what happens, the parents get frustrated, they get tired of dealing with the situation, and so they become very abusive, they become very malicious, they begin to manipulate the child. And I'll tell you, being a parent, you have to always take the higher road. That's the thing about being a parent. You take the higher road, still maintaining respect. Not saying you allow your child to abuse you, not saying you allow your child to do certain things, but whenever you make a decision, it shouldn't be made out of anger, malice, or I'm going to get you back, or I'm going to show you that you need me, because you're getting older. We're getting older, and they're going to become the adults, and they're going to become less dependent on us. And truly what's going to happen in our frail age and get older, you're going to need your children. But if you spend your time abusing them and being transactional, number one, they're just not going to want to be around you. And they're not going to have it in them to think differently. Even if sometimes your children, some children will come around and do the right thing by their parents, even though the parents weren't good to them. But that connection, they're not going to have that for you. They'll just do it because it's the right thing to do. But even then, you're not getting 100%. You're not getting things in the way that you could have received it, versus a child realizing in themselves, this is the right thing to do. And they'll do the right thing, just as you do with a stranger. This is the right thing to do. But you won't have that child that's willing and desiring you because, man, I love my parent. I want to be here. Because of what you've put into them, it just springs up in them. So this holiday, if you're celebrating the holidays, birthdays, whatever it may be, a family trip, please stop using that as leverage over your child's head. After a while, your threats will go empty. They'll be angry, they'll be brooding, and they'll just realize this is the kind of person you are. But you will also be creating that type of individual. You create certain things in your child where they will either be reciprocating that same behavior back to you, or they'll go into relationships thinking it's natural for someone to withhold things from them and stay in those toxic relationships because they learned that and they were already conditioned to that at home. Ask God and pray to the Lord in how to deal with your children and what you need to do in these areas, versus allowing yourself to be emotional and angry and becoming spiteful and even becoming a bully towards your children. All right, guys.